New album reviews from the SBS podcast.
As I'd have expected, the crew behind the Samurai Shin music and comic book are cracking the bat hard for a home run once again. Back with a brand new combination of art and music with the Prelude EP and a new chapter of the story to go with it. This whole project impressed me the first time around with the Samurai Shin Original Soundtrack in issue number 1, and I had every reason to assume that they'd be just as imaginative, creative, and skilled as the last time around. I have to admit, this all surpassed expectations. I think the storyline and narrative that runs through the new issue number 1.5 takes us even further into the story through another really solid part of the overall tale, and straight up, the music on the Prelude EP is damn near perfection from beginning to end. Really impressive cuts on this record, smoother than smooth in so many cases. There's a really good balance of chilled out hypnotic tunes with savage rhymes and rap tracks that add levity to the instrumental tunes to give everyone something to listen to. Wildly appealing stuff. I'll stick to the music first and then get into the new comic a bit. I gotta go with my strengths to at least start this out. You know what I mean? So as I mentioned, all the artists on this record are seriously crushing it. As many of them appear multiple times, I'm going to go through this album a bit differently by the artist to comment on what I've heard, which is different than the order of the songs on the Prelude EP, so just keep that in mind. I will say this before I scramble my thoughts all around here. The order of the Prelude EP is exactly how it should be listened to. I'm just trying to organize this all in a way that makes sense to my brain so I can write this. But the point being, the official lineup of tunes from front to back is seriously impressive and plays flawlessly. Now there, you've been told what's up, and we're moving on. The Prelude EP opens up with another quick glimpse of the story through the intro called Frustrations, and then immediately shifts gears to the first of 3 times that we'll get to hear the extremely talented Keem the Cypher on the smoother than smooth opening electro jam called Lost. We're going to play that in just a second here. The bright piano sample, crisp snap of the snare, and wild production values have this track starting off the new EP in a spectacular direction. It's absolutely the kind of song I could let loop all day in the background and just let the music spin, you dig? Keem the Cypher gets the Prelude EP its first big check mark in the win column with Lost, an electro melody that has extraordinary texture and soul to it. Loved this tune. And he'll also go on to score more big points later on in the record with Searching. Dude definitely knows how to put a killer beat together with a chill vibe. Searching was every bit as extraordinary as Lost, maybe even a little more exotic in flavor. In a way, it actually reminds me of some of the music on like Stereolab's Margarine Eclipse album. Really warm tones and smart use of the vocal sample and the mix leading the melody. Impressive production and editing once again. It's all seriously there. Keem the Cypher makes one last appearance in the track that immediately follows. It's called Love or War with Metaphor the Great on the mic. The music from Keem is every bit as smooth, clear, and crisp as we've already come to expect, with an added hazy vibe thrown into the overall sound, warping it up just enough to really make it like a perfect match for the extreme personality that Metaphor the Great brings to Love or War. This dude is a noteworthy wordsmith. You can absolutely hear the way that the vocal hook of the chorus of Love or War is constructed lyrically. Metaphor the Great bounces off the beat with precision and tremendous rhythm in his every move on the mic. Kuro Silence makes the first of 3 appearances on track number 3, Just Life Goes On, which comes through like an impressive modern attempt at something truly old school. It sounds like an old 70s or 80s TV show theme song. I dig that stuff big time. Reminds me of Lemon Jelly when I hear things like this, and I love Lemon Jelly. So immediately Kuro Silence and the vibrant low-end bass tones and the bright electro synth sounds work amazingly alongside the beat. At only a minute long, KS does what's needed to be done, and we move on. The next appearance made comes 2 tracks later on Some Days, featuring rap from Torre. Musically killer. Almost heads towards like a subtle version of Dr. Dre style beat. Just jazzy enough through the beat for Torre to light up the mic. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation on his name. If I am, I apologize. As usual, I'm horrible at that stuff. 2 voices here, though. So I'm assuming that Kuro Silence got a hold of the mic as well. I'm not quite sure about that. I'll say this. The hook comes through with serious energy that sparks with intensity. That brings one element of power in some days, and that other voice provides a steadier, smooth approach that weaves itself right into the music. It all sounds great to me. That much I can tell you for sure. Lyrically, they get right into the samurai themes and concepts, which obviously adds a huge amount of support to the comic if you're reading along at the same time as listening, as intended. Kuro Silence returns once more on the 8th cut of this record with Blue Clouded Thoughts, back to showcasing the dude's instrumental game. I really dig a lot of what I've heard from Kuro Silence. There's an underlying love for jazz or respect for classical music that exists in this artist. The result is a really modern sound with old school heart, especially on Blue Clouded Thoughts. A great electro jazz dose of the ultra smooth. It flows about as easy as music can right into your ears. Now from here on in, it looks like everyone else appears just the one time to lend their talents to the Prelude. And rewinding a bit backwards to the 4th cut, Ziadon. Is that right? Ziadon? I'm probably, again, butchering that pronunciation. But the point being, XIA-Dawn. Ziadon. It's got to be Ziadon. Point being, Ziadon takes us on a real journey of texture and sound with Like Water. One of the densest grooves and thickest cuts on the EP. The low end on this track is absolutely killer, and the melody that floats atop of that is seriously impressive, dank and dark. Sound is definitely fluid and flowing and moving like water. Really great use of texture and tone. It feels like Giadon takes us on a journey throughout this song, a hypnotic, tripped-out journey perhaps, but an adventure all the same. Chill Squad picks up where Kuro Silence ends off, bringing the atmosphere and groove to The One Switch, produced by DP. The One Switch almost certainly refers to the one switch that occurs in the middle of this cut to send it in a completely different direction than from where it began. For only 2 minutes and 14 seconds long, there's actually quite a lot of ambition in this tune. It starts with a real low-down beat, bright overtones of a sample on top, and then right after a quick breakdown and vocal sample, transitions to an even brighter mix of what sounds like nearly opera and a beat machine combined. Chill Squad has impressively found 2 halves of the whole here that both have serious strengths. You wouldn't see this one coming from where it started, nor would you think it made any sense if you were to hear how this song works aloud like you are now or read about it in a review. But it really, really does work. We're going to play it in a second, so hang tight for that, because we're going to play that with Lost in just a second here in a back-to-back Samurai Shin throwdown. Loved the beginning, though. Loved the ending even more, at least, I think. It's a close call between the two. Bottom line, The One Switch is a really, really cool song. One of my favorite moments comes second to last on the record, and the shortest jam on the Prelude EP at less than a minute long on Nodfather's Old Memories. Everything from the ticking metronomic beat to the stunning piano sample in the background, Old Memories is the perfect title. For a moment, you really lose yourself in this track. Definitely a cut from this record that I could eat by the bowlful or leave on repeat all day long. It's pure perfection in under a minute. Nodfather gets a seal of approval from me. Might be the tiniest, most isolated and intimate tune on the record, but man is it exquisite. This is a real gem on the Prelude EP. Old Memories also provides one last quick moment of instrumental clarity before the thoughts of core demonstration are poured into the mic on the final track, Two Katanas, on a cut produced by Lupin the Beatsmith. As you'll read in issue 1.5 of Samurai Shin, Two Katanas is a central part of the storyline this time around. Even having a couple references in throughout the lyrics that fit in thematically gives this final cut the edge when it comes to fitting along with the storyline of their new comic. Plus, these MCs got bars! Right now I seem to be really into character and confidence on the mic lately, and you get tons of that here. Dig the first verse and the boldness to the sound and the pace. in the vocals. Love the tone of the second set of vocals and the insane roll through the lyrics he goes on. Real skill and talent on display here. It sounds like one final set of vocals, different people every time, brings it home in the last verse. Great energy on the mic to make for a memorable ending to the Prelude EP, while the music keeps revolving in that now familiar electro-jazz style that seems to have worked so well throughout this record. Or to sum it all up in a single sentence, I'm a really big fan of what the Samurai Shin crew brings to the table of both music and art. The new issue, number 1.5, has been out officially since July 3rd this year, and if you dig comics, I fully recommend checking out what these guys do. The artwork is always incredibly on point. The storyline really developed and added to the origin story of this entire project, and it was compelling to read. And they're really damn good at setting up the next chapter in a way that'll make you want to continue reading. Most importantly, from the pens to the paper to the studio to the mics, the entire world of Samurai Shin is one that incorporates heart, passion, and what has to be a shitload of insanely hard work. So do the right thing and check these guys out. Issue number 1.5 follows the story of Keith Masaru as he begins to grow from a boy into a man. You trip through the memories of the story of his father and the way he first learned to fight, first learned to hold two katanas. You feel me? It details the intensity of his training, the strength of the bonds of family, and ultimately eventually reveals a plotline that is bursting with gripping emotion that is certain to fuel the storyline for many issues to follow. Now, obviously, I don't want to give too much away here, so I'll wrap this up in saying that I think they've really set themselves up strongly for a successful series here. Issue number 1.5 takes the entire storyline into much deeper terrain and establishes the motivations for many of the characters, especially Keith. The quality is as intense as the storyline itself. Everything about this project is done as professionally, creatively, and consistently as you could ever hope to experience. The issue is solid, the soundtrack is ballin', definitely another job extremely well done, and another solid addition to the growing legacy and legend of Samurai Shin. Alright.